Doing well, how are you?
How did you find out about the series?
I gotta be honest.
SBU's first field trip, yay! We are on our way to YALLFest, which stands for Young Adult Literature YALLFest. Lovers Fest. Okay, I don't know. I've actually never been to this Young Adult Literature Festival before. Had you heard of it?
I had never heard of it until I think last year.
My friends would go to this like every year. They'd see Cassandra Clare and maybe Rick Riordan was there at one point, you know, like YA books.
The era of YA.
Right.
When YA was for teenagers.
Right, back with that. I wonder how different this is going to be. I hope that we feel really weird and creepy being there.
That would actually be reassuring in a strange way if we were like way too old to be there.
Right. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
I really doubt it.
Anyways,
based on what I've been seeing on social media.
Yeah, it's not really a convention. It's not really an event. It's just like a string of meetings, we'll call it. Yeah. We're literally booked from 8 to 5, seeing panels on this, that, or the other thing. I'll pull up our specific schedule because you could like pick and choose what you do every half hour. Alex Aster is going to be there. I'm so excited.
She's going to teach us how to write, finally.
She's going to teach us how to write. She's like, yeah, it's about like, God, what is it? Writing across audiences. Very, very pertinent to the demographics question.
Yeah.
Everything's that we know about is ending at like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of lame. Like, I thought there would be more of like, not a nightlife or an after party, but like...
That's exactly what I thought. Like, I've never been to AWP, which is like a more literary version of this event. But I've heard that like the real events, quote unquote, happen when you run into the people that have been giving talks in organic formats, like in bars and stuff after hours. And there's tons of poetry readings and people get up to all kinds of nonsense. So I'm a little bit curious to see if any of that will happen tonight or tomorrow night.
Right. That would be fun. That would be fun if we just ran into Alex Aster at the hotel bar.
That would be insane.
But yeah, no, to that point, like, we're not going to do anything weird or like cause any ruckus. I didn't get tickets to Alex Aster's signing lines because the website like crashed and I got lazy and I never followed up on it. But she is going to be at the keynote address and she's going to be again at that one thing. And she may be at this game show thing. I have literary bingo. I don't know what it is. It's like a series of literary challenges for authors. And I did not want to go to this. I did not want to go to this.
That's very Anime Con coded.
Right.
Did you sign us up for that?
Well, so the story is,
okay.
I'm not paying $14 a ticket for this stupid thing that I don't want to do, but there's something called a media pass that I really wanted us to get. With our 4,000 subscribers. We are technically media for all intents and purposes. So I'm like, what the hell? I'll shoot it out, you know, I'll fill out the application. And they came back and they were like, sorry, you know, you didn't quite make the cut. We had more volunteers for media passes than ever before, but as a consolation prize, here's a ticket to this thing that you didn't want to go to. So I spent $28 for Jay and my wife to get a ticket when I didn't want to spend any money on this. So it better be good. It better be good. It's like,
no, this is gonna be a disaster.
There's some guy, I don't know his name, I'll flash the picture of like the banner or whatever, and I thought it would be like, at first glance it seems like a lot of people in like a row, but it's just the same guy and different pictures of him. So like I have no idea. You better be like really charismatic.
So other than Alex Aster, are any other authors in the SBU going to be there?
No.
Okay.
Maybe no. Lauren Roberts I don't think is coming,
at least not in any official capacity that we know of.
There's Chloe Gong and Dustin Tao we've mentioned, but obviously haven't done like SBU episodes on. That would be interesting to see.
They're like Alex Aster's cupbearers and footmen, right?
But yeah, no, I think we're going to be doing a lot of discovery on this. There's something called Lit Alley, which I think is just a zoo of like mid-level YA authors that might be good to interact with.
Dealer's Den.
It's going to feel like 2010. We're going to do like a vlog. It's going to be really fun actually, because I want to do more like video-based content. And I think something that feels like the beginning of a bad found footage horror movie is the great way to do this.
All right.
Look, There it is. Springerville. We're gonna go to the luncheonette and see Gus and Emma and Stranger.
Wow. That's already infinite number times more characters than I remember.
And Chris. Look around. This is what we were fighting for. For context, Springerville in Not My Home by J.A. Johnstone is based off of Somerville. We're just gonna walk around and see how it goes, maybe do a bar crawl. The problem is tomorrow there's an arc drop really early, and I want to go, not even to get arcs, but just like to see what the process looks like. So it's going to be a balancing act of how much we can drink with how early that we need to wake up tomorrow.
We could make one of those videos where it starts and it's like, how many drinks do you think you're gonna have tonight versus at the end of the night?
Only instead of being fucked up at the end of the night, we're just gonna be quietly reading in our hotel room. I don't know. I'm still kind of optimistic about Lit Alley. Maybe among the slop, we may find a gem or two, but
that's true.
One can never be sure.
I think,
is this my exit?
I think that's a good bet. If we're going to find somebody who's genuine, it's probably somebody who's trying to claw their way into being known.
Let's lock in. Gentlemen. Oh yeah, awesome. And now
It's just 5 o'clock. We only need to
Oh,
make
it is.
6 more
I
minutes.
keep forgetting
It's
that
because
it's 5 o'clock
o'clock
on a
traffic.
Friday.
If I were an antler bear, where would I hide?
If I were a creature,
Where is the highest proportion of creature to people?
Yeah.
Sponsored by TikTok? I didn't know that.
Well, so we're in like the inner sanctum here.
yeah, we are.
I didn't realize it was sponsored by TikTok until literally just now. All right, so I don't know if this is going to work at all,
Yeah,
but we're
we'll find out.
Yeah, we're going to find out. This may sound just like completely terrible, but it is 7:30. I want to go to bed, but we have kind of just been wandering the streets trying to find YALLFest like accoutrements.
Right.
Engagements, right. It would be so cool to run into Alex Aster in the street somewhere. Just to know that she exists, but we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we have to get up early tomorrow morning. I wanted to run through the schedule because I don't think we did it in the car.
We did not.
Bright and early, we have whatever the Twinkling Tomes arc drop is. The thing is, like, I don't know if I really care about getting arcs that much, but like, who knows if the next Kate Corain is lurking and then one of these arcs is going to be worth $1 billion billion
That's right.
or whatever.
I only care about arcs that you, the viewer, care about.
Right.
So if there's something that you want us to have gotten, leave a comment below and we'll go back in time and do that.
Right, but it's at 9 a.m. and they're only accepting like the first 50 people or something crazy.
But the first 50 people get 4 arcs apiece,
Right,
right? So
right.
all we have to do is ask some child really, really nicely.
Yeah, I think we can make it happen. I'm actually really cynical about how it's going to go because, and I only realized this just now, I'll put like B-roll in or something. This event is sponsored now by TikTok, which it most assuredly was not in 2011 when my friends were there.
No.
So I don't know what this implicates for the broader YALLFest community, but we're going to find out very, very soon.
I don't know.
The thing about YALLFest is it runs from 8 to 5 or 8 to 6. Nothing happens after 6 p.m. It's actually really sad. So we do kind of have to cram in all of these events, and like 3 or 4 events will happen at the same time. So the itinerary that I devised for us kind of hopes that the things that we would genuinely be interested in also wouldn't be popular. Because the first thing we have at 11 is Why We Edit Books, which is, I think, is just a panel of editors.
Okay.
It would appeal to both of us because we talk all the time about like whether or not editing teams are involved,
Right.
like whether they exist.
We do talk about why we edit books because it seems that often
Right.
that stage is rather neglected.
Right. So I'm very interested to see how they react to this. Cheers.
Cheers.
The second one that we're doing is writing across audiences with Alex Aster, which I did mention earlier today. I have no idea what that's going to entail. I guess just like writing new adult romance or whatever.
This is going to be, I think, the star of the convention, or the black hole of the convention, depending
Writing across
on,
audiences?
Yeah, well, just because it's like Alex Aster's feature. It's her, this is her solo act demonstrating her mastery over the craft of writing. She's going to have to explain herself in front of a jury of her peers and fans. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea. So, the other one is, Alex isn't in this, but the aesthetics of storytelling. Another thing I'm very interested in, because TikTok encourages you to reduce books to a list of tropes that could be used for SEO. So I'm hoping we can glean some insight into how all that works.
I was going to ask you about that. When it says aesthetics, does it mean aesthetics as in like fantasy versus sci-fi versus like
the title is all I know.
Solar punk?
I think so. I think it has something to do with genre.
Because like aesthetics could also be, you know, one's propensity for certain symbols and motifs.
Right.
But I have a feeling it's not that.
Not that
worth
at all.
asking.
Right. So we'll find out. Then we have, there's something called Lit Alley, which I think is just like, again, the celebrity zoo.
Yeah.
We'll just fuck around. I'm hoping we'll find like a cool YA author who's like not Alex Aster. We have retellings and takes on Fave Tales, which is, I guess, exactly what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
Gives us some insight into your Kate Corains, maybe, I hope. We'll find out.
Yeah, if Greek mythology doesn't feature, I'll be pretty bummed.
That's a good, and their interpretation of it.
Right.
Then there's just, I think exactly what we did earlier, where it was just this really crowded, scary bookstore. There's this new Mayhem Books that's opening up, or like is doing something. I don't know. It's on my schedule.
My compliments to the graphic design team. Their logo is a really cute cat creature.
Yeah, no, it's a good logo. So
I like it a lot.
I'm sure it'll be great.
I mean, the books that they were advertising on that page spread that we saw the logo in, it looks like, you know, any other YA book that's coming out right now. But we'll see.
So I don't know. And then with the closing keynote, that takes us from, literally 8 to 5. So this is like a job. We're just going to be walking around from place to place in Charleston and learning about books.
Right. Various stakeholders at different levels of the industry will be telling us all about their favorite verticals, about conversions and KPIs.
Everyone's favorite things in the book world.
Yep.
The thing is, it's been very hard to like see what the vibe is going to be in the short time that we've been here.
Yes.
One, because it's gotten so dark so quick, so I physically can't see what's going on.
Indeed.
And two, because Charleston has become, is always and has become heavily gentrified.
Yes.
And there's like a wine tasting going on. There's some crazy like festival of wine,
Food and charcuterie, it looked like.
Right. No, it just seems like this monument to excess.
Yeah.
So I can't figure out whether these people are book people or wine people or both.
Yeah.
Because that demographic has begun to overlap.
Or just rich people about town because it's a Friday night.
Right.
And it's a nice evening and there's stuff to do.
Right. So I don't know. We have seen some people, but like so far they have been college and high school age.
Right.
You know, they've been who I expect to see at YALLFest.
Yeah.
But once we get to these more like corporate-y things, I think it's going to get a little bit weird.
That'll be interesting because I have to imagine that the appetite among people of the age that we've seen so far is really for like the content of the books.
Right.
And some of the stuff that we're going to be attending seems like it's more like
The-
meta level and business level.
Right.
And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the demographics are different across different panels.
So I guess we're just going to sit here and sip our drinks and hope that Alex just happens upon us in the bar. We're booktubers.
Okay, well, that's awesome.
We're the bottom feeders that follow your spouse around.
Stop. I mean, that's awesome.
She's been writing since she was a child.
Yeah,
It is her passion. And it's like her life goal is to sell a book. She did it.
She did it.
But now it's to sell more.
What is this? Is this a separate line of people?
Is that for the opening keynote?
No, it's at a different time. I don't know what's going on.
But I guess we'll just get in line with everyone else. No goodies. Only baddies. Yeah, we got a couple of baddies.
I could take these and no one could stop me.
Don't say
I
that.
could just run up, grab a couple, run back, and no one would be the wiser. I think that's Reads with Rachel. I think that's her. I think that's she. That is she. So we just had the most awkward conversation with Reads with Rachel ever.
Yeah, we ambushed her. We ambushed her in the street. We literally, I like brushed shoulders with her, and then I turned around
You
like it was
shoulder checked Reads with
no,
Rachel?
not literally, not literally.
No, but I was like, we can't go up to her. We can't go up to her. And then before I know it, Jay was already halfway there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I caught the side of her face in profile like an
We have
anime
the-
love interest. So I had to be like,
Rachel John. We just met Kaylee Wrights, who is like the nicest person in the world out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Sent me a ticket to see Alex Aster.
yeah. I
And
thought
get
we weren't
us
gonna be able
out.
to make it, but now we
We
will.
had no intention of making it, but I had to sprint over to the bookstore and buy the Grimm and Oro double feature that is flippable.
It's flippable in the middle, so like you read one half, the Oro half, and then you flip it over, and the Grimm half is like upside down.
So
It's crazy.
I'm gonna get her to sign it,
Yeah.
and she's going to look me in the eye and she's going to say, "Antler Bear, everything you think is true."
Okay, so because nothing can be more awkward than our interaction with Reads of Rachel, we are less than 30 minutes away from seeing Alex Aster in the flesh.
That's right.
She's gonna sign a Grimm and Oro. I'm really like paranoid that they'll see that I'm clearly not named Kaylee and get mad at me. This is really funny. We can ask her to sign either the Grimm or the Oro side. Or maybe, no, it's already signed. Okay, well, I guess we don't have to do this. We can go home. This looks just like Wildling. This looks like Wild Isle. There's vines.
I see the vision.
And that's the place of mirrors.
Where's the hearts?
Hearts, they're subterranean, I recall.
Right. That's crazy stuff.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't know. I can't sense her presence.
So I wonder, is she just gonna walk away? And we're all
Oh, we're gonna cheer? Yeah. I hope so. Man, the wristband is redder than the heart of Lightlark, and also the ruby. Alex Aster somewhere in there, but I don't know if she's
Not on that part.
She's always been scared by someone.
I thought it was getting shaded in the tent, but it is just a sheer.
It needs to be well lit for the photography.
It's like a magnifying glass for ants.
The phrase "a magnifying glass for ants" is so revealing and sinister.
Upon ants. You know what I
What do you
mean.
think magnifying glasses are for? There's a guy over there taking people's wristbands as they leave and crumpling and sometimes even cutting them so they can't be reused.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Can he cut mine and let me keep it as like a souvenir? Like, I don't want him to throw it away. We're doing great. How are you? Yeah. It's a little bit kind of like a chill.
Just a little.
Hey. Oh my gosh. It's
Hey.
I'm sorry.
How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah.
How did you find out about the series?
Just kind of the internet, you know.
It's unavoidable.
I'm relentless.
No, we were really excited, but like I gotta be honest, I really love Summer in the City. Like I hope you do more contemporary romance stuff because like it had so much of you in it, and in a good way.
Yeah. It really changed him a lot.
Yeah. I don't know.
I love that people say that because obviously a lot of people at the time like Lark first.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people this weekend tell me that they like Summer City and it meant so much to me. 'Cause
Right.
You're right. I poured so much of my
Right.
personality. Like
Yeah.
it's like so much stream of consciousness, like
Yeah.
how I feel. In
Right.
There. And so thank you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Star Side, my fantasy is in
Yes.
first person.
Okay.
It's a lot like sadder and darker. Like it's like fantasy with very high stakes. But I did feel like the first person I get to show my personality.
Sure.
That's
sure.
great.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm glad that it like
Yeah.
trumps you. That's
Yeah.
so- that's
Appreciate
so
it.
great to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
So much.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you.
Have a great afternoon. Bye.
Group or somebody else who reads the books before it goes to the editor. Basically, who is your first reader and what kind of feedback do you like to get from them?
Thanks so much for being here. My latest release is Escaping of Blood. It's a sequel to A Tempest of Tea, which I guess I'll talk about that one first. I like to describe it as Peaky Blinders meets a dash of King Arthur with vampires and a heist. But that's the fancy bits and baubles. At its core, it's about colonialism and the pain and struggle that stems from it.
We're on the way to the one panel that Alex Aster's in, other than the, what do you call it, the closing ceremony. So far, we peaked super early with the Alex Aster signing.
We definitely did. Both panels that we've been to have been very general, very boring.
Things that you have heard a million times if you even like know or have looked into anything about writing.
Right, if you ever watched a YouTube video about how to write, you have heard this before.
Which I think is like a good thing, actually, to me anyways. That means that the fingers of the corporate overlords haven't taken too much away from us.
Yeah, I suppose. If I was one of the teens sitting in these rooms, of which there are many, which I'm heartened by personally,
yeah,
I think that if this was like one of the first times I was hearing this stuff, it would be a very, very good place to start.
Right, and we have to understand that we're nowhere near the target demographic here. We have that one that was the editing, and they were all very old and established. Yes. But then the one that we were just at with the aesthetics of storytelling, those guys seemed to be a little bit younger. They were more closer to debut authors than others. I don't know. I do kind of think there's a healthy but underseen middle class of writer out there who is able to be a guest at these events, but is not an Alex Aster.
One thing I'm noticing is the titles of these panels. They are like often two phrases separated by a colon.
Yeah.
And one of the phrases is like unmistakably internet slang.
Right.
Like the ones that we just went to was, the vibes are immaculate. And then the second part of the phrase is something more academic that tells you what the panel's actually about, the aesthetics of storytelling. And it's this uniquely corporate blend of trying to capture the internet audience and also trying to capture, yes, the more academically minded audience.
All right. So here's the Charleston Music Hall, which is where we are to see Alex Aster's genius at work.
Even before like our release, I would post multiple times a day for an entire year, and then the years after, it was almost like I was doing social media more than I was writing. And like you said, like none of us got into this because we wanted to be social media stars. Like we're all like, I only wanted to be a writer. Even like when I was 12 years old, I thought I could be an anonymous writer. Like I didn't want anyone to know. And so it's interesting now. It's like, you know, the opposite. And it's not necessarily because we want to. It's honestly because we have to. The good thing is that like the readers kind of took over, and the only way I was able to keep writing like at a like I guess a better pace. Maybe this is like something deeper psychologically, like I can't see my phone when I'm writing. I have to put it in another room. Like it will bother me because I think I have so much stress associated with my phone.
Siege of Charleston, 1780. We all bear witness through the living word and testament.
And one thing that I had to learn pretty quickly is that, oh, you have to build community and find a cohort around you, because you have people who care about you as a person and also kind of know what you're striving for and know how you want to develop your voice. One of the most important things that you can develop as an artist is your eye or your sense of taste, and that gets diluted. It becomes very easy to become confused if you're trying to please strangers. So find people whose feedback you trust, because it helps you develop your eye and it helps you build community around this thing that could be a really isolating thing for you to experience, because our work is so decentralized oftentimes.
It's been very hard for me to focus in these panels because of this lady in the corner here with the weird art style that gives her these salad finger,
And it kept losing it. So it kept, I had a laptop and the laptop would crash. I'm not exaggerating, it happened 3 times. And I never backed it up. I would just go to the Apple store crying and be like, I lost my book. And the people would be like, oh my gosh, what? Like, I was like 12 years old, 13 years old. It happened 3 times before I decided to start emailing myself my book.
So to get us started, next slide, please. The trailhead of inspiration. So what was the inspiration for your first book that got published?
I wanted to write something that made me feel the same way that Twilight and all these other books made me feel the first time that I read them. And so after that rejection, I wrote My Lark.
Each player will be randomly assigned a book character when they arrive on stage. When the music starts, players walk in a circle around the ship. When the music stops, players must race to board a ship.
I like to think, like one of my early awakenings as a young in the closet kid was Simba during. You know what I'm saying? Oh boy. I set the stage for this by admitting to all of you that my first crush was a lion.
Okay, we are leaving YALLFest after 24 grueling hours.
Oh, please. It was only 12 grueling hours.
Yeah, 12.
Because 6 of them were good, and 6 of them we were asleep.
Right, so that game show thing, I think I called it like the Smackdown or something. That's the actual title of it. I thought we would sit through most of it, but around the time that I realized that Alex Aster probably wouldn't be participating, I just gave up because it
turned into improv games.
Yeah.
Played by characters that we don't know.
Right.
I mean, you guys know we are a book show first and a personage of the author's show like 3rd or 5th.
Right.
2nd and 4th are mystery things. But Alex Aster is a character that we're invested in, and all these other random people who are, to be fair, they're big shots in their own right.
Yeah.
They're not relevant to us. So we saw some of the improv games that they played. We'll talk about them in a bit. But for now, we have other stuff to talk about.
Right, we were very happy to leave that game show.
Yes,
we'll just leave it at that for now.
Yeah, no offense to anybody who was participating or arranging that. It was very high effort.
Right.
It was delightful. It just wasn't for us.
Right, so I've never done a video like this before, so it may be kind of awkward back and forth with B-roll or whatever little recordings that I've made. We get in yesterday night and we're struck instantaneously with how little is going on.
Yeah.
So
it's weird. Okay, I imagine that if you're listening to this, there's a good chance you've been to some type of convention, whether professional or for fandom in some point in your life. And I don't know about y'all, but I've never been to a con that was literally a single day.
Right.
Everything happened today, with the exception of some off-the-schedule events that happened last night.
Right.
Which I think is what you're about to get into, Andrew. So I'll let you lead us into this.
No, because I think we gained some valuable insight. Remember our Kate Crane episode?
I remember
where
so much about our Kate Crane
we were talking about how all the debut authors of that era were on Slack. And how I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
We think we're going to do a bar crawl, but we end up going to one restaurant.
And then we literally walked down the street.
It's like a couple blocks.
And then up a staircase that Andrew's wife happened to pick out.
Right.
And we walked up that staircase into that 2nd story bar, and we started drinking, and we filmed a little bit. You've probably already seen some of that at this point.
Right.
And then it starts to fill up rather conspicuously, you might say. And we notice that some of the conspicuous entities have name tags.
Right.
and they have stickers and bookmarks
and tote bags with like bookish phrases on them.
Right.
And so finally, somebody just happened to sit down at the table next to us who was in one of these groups.
Yeah.
And I was like, Andrew, talk to that person.
What I've realized is that this entire weekend, you've just been putting me in freaking situations.
Yeah.
Because you did pressure me into talking to this random guy.
Someone said thank you, by the way.
He's the husband of one of the debut authors, and apparently this random bar was chosen by all of the debut authors who are on this Discord
chat.
Right. But like now my new obsession is I want to get on this Discord so bad because there were booktubers and book talkers also there, and they had name tags and they were allowed to like be a part of this, but we weren't.
Right.
But it worked.
It's weird. It sounds like the publishing companies or some other entity that's higher up on the food chain sort of prescribed groups and put them in Discord chats with each other.
Right.
And interestingly, that doesn't just include authors that are about at the same echelon. It also seems like they paired up the media with authors that maybe they thought would be relevant to what they produce, or maybe they thought were like at a similar level of popularity.
Yeah, it seemed like a pecking order thing.
Yes, and I would love to know whether it is a pecking order thing or not, or like what were the strata, like what was the strategy behind arranging these people. And that's something that I think we can only figure out by being in them.
Right.
So fingers crossed for next year.
But anyways, they were all like really cool people. I don't think I met anyone who exuded pretension or rudeness.
Not at all.
And if I did, I would tell y'all, like, I want to start drama, but like legitimately, it was really great. It was interesting. Like the husbands and the spouses are always the easiest point of infiltration.
There were a lot of very supportive, very sweet husbands of some very talented women.
Right.
That was nice.
No, but yeah, not to toot our own horn, but I felt like so cool because I stole a couple of name tags and I stole the Sharpie and I was just like writing Andrew SBU English Club and Jay SBU English Club.
So we rolled the charisma check to talk to some people, and then we just, I guess, rolled a sleight of hand check to find the name tags.
We aced that interaction.
We
aced that interaction.
There were so many places it could have gone wrong.
Right.
But like we got into the right bar at the right time, and we got the name tags. We talked to the people, and I don't know. I feel like it was great.
Yeah. So it was probably the better night of the entire experience.
Well,
because
you never know. It's not a fair comparison because it's only 7 p.m. as we're recording this, and we did dip out a little early. So there might be cool stuff happening tonight, but we just have to be out of here. So unfortunately, maybe next year we'll see. But yeah, by default, I guess it wins the tournament between the two nights.
It could always be worse. So I get up at 6 a.m., which I consider to be ungodly early. And show up at 7 a.m. to this arc drop where they have all of these outdoor picnic tents.
Just so you know.
And it turns out that some of the people that I followed the night before had woken up again at 4 a.m. to be the first in line for these arcs. The only arc I remember being there was Cindy Pham's new book, Reads with Cindy, or With Cindy, I think it is now. That's the only arc I would have even remotely been interested in. But
just gotta say, YALLFest, you guys gotta get that organized. That like lines thing for the arc drops.
No.
War gar nicht wienerisch, Alter. Das war krass /neg, guys. Like, okay, we need lines. We need actual real lines. It was a mess. It was just like these blobs of people that were vaguely intersecting, and you would talk to somebody in front of you and they'd be like, I'm in line for X, and you would talk to somebody who was like slightly in front of you but a little to the left, and they'd be like, I'm in line for Y.
Right.
And then you're like, which one am I in line for? I don't know. And then you would realize that actually the person who's in front of you in line was the person directly to your right, because directly to your right the line curved, and there was no indication of that whatsoever.
And and the volunteers would come by and unhelpfully tally you.
Yes.
They'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And they would also be like, can you guys like squeeze off the sidewalk, like kind of onto the grass?
They were so condescending about it. Like they were like, people are trying to live their lives. Like, you put us here.
Right.
Like,
you put us here at 4 a.m.
Right.
Let us stand outside this museum on this street corner at 4 a.m.
Right. So we did not get any arcs out of that original encounter, because what happened was we ended up being in a line for stickers
and bookmarks.
and I think there might have been enamel pins. I could be wrong.
I got enamel pins. Well,
Okay.
they're metal.
Room ticket. That's
Okay.
what we were looking
Yes, and my wife got an escape room ticket, but
Yeah.
just her and nobody else. To be fair, I would not have wanted to do it had I got
She
one.
was the only one brave enough to actually assert herself and
Right.
say, I want an escape room
thing.
ticket.
Right.
So,
So, anyways.
that part might not be YALLFest's fault.
Right. So, while we were waiting in line, we met someone really cool, Kaylee Bright Wrights, who has a podcast called Bright and Ambitious,
Yep.
where she talks about like craft and the writing life, and she interviews authors.
That's so cool to me.
I was so worried about like being an annoying quote unquote content creator, in as much as SBU can be considered a content creator. But then behind me comes this girl with the Zoom H6 and is like, hey, do you want to be interviewed? So I hope that comes out. I ended up rambling a lot, and I don't think I delivered what she wanted to get. So I would not be offended if this never sees the light of day, but I hope it does, because I thought I said some interesting stuff. But she just randomly had Alex Aster tickets that she didn't want,
Right.
which was like serendipity. I
Yeah.
could not believe it, because I had given up on seeing Alex Aster but from afar.
That's right.
This entire day. But she's just like, give me your email, I will send you tickets to the fucking signing.
I couldn't believe it.
It was you couldn't have written this better than it was.
If
And
you
she
had
was,
written it, people would have told you it wasn't believable.
yeah, and she was so cool, and she's based in a city that's near me, so I'm hoping that like we can do some kind of collab or something.
That's right. You
like-
might be seeing more of her in the future.
Right, I hope so.
In the meantime, you should follow her on Instagram.
Right, I hope we didn't like completely just alienate her or something. I'll put her in the description or something, because I really appreciate it, like more than you can possibly understand. Even though what I had to do was leave that line and go buy a copy of the Grimm and Oro double novella that's bound into a single tome.
Yes.
Which I never wanted to purchase in my life. I never wanted this stupid book.
I'm trying to see if I can convince Andrew to cut it in half.
Right.
So we can do one of our half and half episodes.
Right.
It'd be really funny if we just each had half a book and we filmed the cutting, I think. I think it would be very
no,
King Solomon.
I'm completely unopposed to this.
Okay, good.
I just think it's funny. But I needed something to sign, because I would have brought my Lightlark arc that I got from a Goodwill in Wisconsin had I known that I would see this woman up close and personal, but alas. Anyways, I got this stupid double novella, and then that became the next thing that we did. I don't even remember what we were missing out on. Oh, it was the opening keynote.
That's right. We missed the opening keynote.
Which
and
I didn't buy tickets for anyways.
So who cares? And we ended up missing half of the panel that followed that, but it's like whatever.
Right, it didn't really matter. So we get into like this absolute kiln of a grotto.
We're just sort of baking in this like open air oven. It's not that hot, but because we're in, like I said, brick and concrete, and the sun is just bouncing everywhere, and there's lots of bodies packed around us, it's a little bit oppressive.
Right.
I'm starting to sweat just slightly, which means I'm going to be damp when we see Alex, which is not how I had imagined things.
Right. I'm in some sort of fugue state, both from the sensation and from all that we put into our bodies last night. So now my only goal is to just not get shot by Alex Aster on site for being creep.
And just wait for Alex Aster.
And it was crazy when she finally walked in, and Andrew's not kidding, we were in a grotto, which I think you'll probably have seen at this point in the
I'll
video.
put like B-roll on or something.
Yeah. So we were in this absolute furnace.
Yes.
It was a right conflagration, it was. And Alex Aster, when she came in, there's only one entrance. So she just walked in the way we had walked in and walked directly behind the signing booth. No one even noticed her except for like maybe me. I pointed it out to Andrew and he was like, oh yeah, there she is.
There she is. It felt so weird.
It was very, very anticlimactic, but I don't know, I guess from the author's perspective, it's easier if you just beeline directly for your post and hope no one says anything.
Right, because we were like wondering if she would have a security detail or something.
Yeah.
Like she's like, obviously an author is not one of the most high profile jobs in the world, but she's not a celebrity.
She's
you
like
know,
a known entity.
Yeah, she's like a known entity. People could see her on the street and recognize her.
Yeah.
So we sit in this line forever, and it's terrible and serpentine, and there's this lady in front of us who is just not having our little conversation.
She really, really hated our like snark.
Yeah, she did. But she asked eventually for a pitch, and I think we got it recorded.
Tell me about your podcast.
We're the SBU English Club. We're real life critique partners in college. So then after we graduated, we were like, what if we just turn this into a BookTube channel? So our thing is we have like a meta narrative. We pretend to be in a critique group with authors who are like either like famous, controversial, or whatever. We'll do stuff like Light Lark, Powerless, but also like just more weirder outside artists. And then we do like video essays on the side about, you know, novellas or short stories or like other things on the side.
Sorry.
No, that's totally fine.
Like bring little like a lot of people to bookmarks.
And I thought I aced the pitch. I thought she like
You did ace the pitch, but you got interrupted by her friend coming in, and telling her some details about like their next move, which was so irritating.
But hey, you know, as long as I did my part, it works out in the end. And then I'm like freaking out. I'll probably keep some footage in of me like trying to figure out like how to act or what to do. And the moment comes and like, she is so nice. Like immediately I am struck with this like, not, what's the word? She's the opposite of unsettling. So I guess settling.
She's comforting.
She's very
matronly.
I don't know. Yeah, you're putting words in my mouth that I don't like. But like I go straight to like, okay, this woman is not a threat.
Well, you know what she did is she addressed us as though we were known friends. She was like, "Oh, hey, how are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
You'll see the exact words that she used probably previous to me saying this. But there was something about her intonation more than her actual diction that suggested we knew each other.
Right.
And it was definitely practiced, which is not to say inauthentic.
No.
But it helped ease the interaction a lot.
Like obviously she's being fake. Like she's of course just putting on a face. She probably was trying to kill us with her mind on any number of inebriants and or stimulants and just wanted to leave.
Probably. Especially given details we learned not too long after this.
Right. And so, but it went really well. Like I didn't, obviously I wasn't going to be like, oh, I'm the SBU English Club podcast because like I don't want her to find that and then see Alex Aster's book is literally the worst book I have ever read because it fails to be literature and I hate it and it pisses me off because I just, you know, I don't want to do that to a flesh and blood human person.
Especially not somebody who's like a bad person as far as we know.
Or just like put it in their face like that, you know what I mean? So,
it would come across as like deceptive if you were super nice in person and then she saw the content and it was like not favorable.
Right, so I was just like, I'm Andrew, this is my friend Jay, can you make the signature out to me? But I wanted to convey that I knew her canon or whatever, so I was like, you know, I think a lot about Light Lark, but to be honest with you, I really have enjoyed Summer in the City. I love how much of you is in that book. And, you know, again, she was being fake, but I do think that she enjoyed hearing that. I got the vibe that she really appreciated hearing about something that wasn't romantasy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, it's hard to say because she's very good at acting.
Yeah, so all things considered, you know, she didn't look me in the eye and say antler bear as I had dreamed, but it was still pretty sick.
Yeah, in his most fevered visions, Andrew was hoping that she would, I don't know, lean over the table and whisper into his ear like, human women are creatures, or something like that. But that didn't happen, unfortunately.
Right. So I think I even mentioned on the way up here that I specifically chose seminars that seemed like they wouldn't appeal to a lot of people because I thought they would give us like extra levels of insight for those with the patience to sift through them.
And boy, were you exactly 50% right, because there were not a lot of people there.
So we go straight from the Alex Aster signing to Why We Edit Books, which featured, I have to read this because I don't remember. I know David Levithan, Brandon Reichs, who was probably the most interesting character of that panel. He mentioned his mother a lot.
Like, she's never liked anything that I've ever written, like ever. So I have to go through that gauntlet first. Like if Kathy Reichs will look at it and she hates it. Okay. And then I note the parts that she hates. Boom, I've got 2. Okay, this is a problem. If it doesn't, I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a terrible mother. And I ignore it.
I don't think he was actually. This is not to negate you. This is just my alternative perspective. I don't think he was all that interesting. I think he was just like an extremely cis, straight white man.
Oh, and that made him stick out.
And that made him stick out.
Yeah, fair
I think
enough.
that, and I just that's anthropologically interesting to me.
Sure, yeah. There was Victor Pinheiro, Abdi Nazemian, and Freddie Kolsch, and also Kate Christensen. This was incredibly dry.
Yeah.
This was an incredibly dry experience, and even coming in 10 minutes late still offered nothing to the enjoyment
And
that
I
had.
was even later because I went to go get snacks.
Right.
And I was glad that I was as late as I was, because like the 20 minutes or so that I actually caught were just like... It's funny that we just recorded our Megalator episode.
Yes, our Megalator
it
episode.
was very like iWriterly level, like the most basic. You've heard it a half dozen or more times, writing advice about like, you should edit your books. Some editors are nice and some editors are mean.
Right. No, it literally came down to it. Oh, hold on, this probably looks so creepy on camera, but I can't like distract the driver, but I need to read my physical paper notebook for this. The only things that I thought were interesting enough to write down is that sensitivity readers being provided by the publishing house are becoming less common, which I could kind of see 2 different ways the interpretation of that.
They just realized that they can not pay for it and get away with it. I think it comes down to that.
Right, but yeah, no, what I think is economic.
Yeah,
like they just can't afford readers of any variety.
No. They can afford it, but
they choose not to.
pretend that they can't afford it because the words recession and inflation are really big right now. So,
if 2 people have the same feedback, then it's worth considering. Which I believe. To an extent, it depends, because I would have situations in our real life critique group where one person would make a Google comment and then everyone would say, oh yeah, I agree. But then when you asked each individual person who said they agree, they wouldn't be able to substantiate. They're just like jumping on a bandwagon.
They're vibes editing.
So I think that's true in principle, but it does depend on the execution of your edits.
Absolutely does. Yeah. And I think the big distinguishing factor is whether or not other people can see each other's suggestions.
Yeah.
Because 2 people who come up with the same edit independently of each other, that's something.
Right. There's a lot of stuff about the importance of cross-referencing critique that you get, which I also think works in the abstract, but I just worry that would turn into a lot of excuse making, and you like purposefully seek out your sycophants so that you feel better in the moment.
Right. I was noticing that like anytime an author offered like a strategy that they found really reliable, in concept, I could come up with like 3 or 4 reasons why it might not work.
Right.
And I think that just speaks to the subjectivity of the whole thing. Like, you know, again, to reference the Megalator episode, there's always going to be writers out there, and these guys at this panel weren't doing that, but there's always going to be writers out there who will tell you all you have to do is XYZ and then you got it.
Right.
But it's really not that simple. I think the reason that each of them had a different strategy is because they've each learned that a different strategy legitimately works for them. And so like the meta message you can take away is like
everyone can have different strategies.
Try out all these strategies and maybe one works for you, but maybe you pioneer the one that then you get to present at your panel in 10 years.
Right. Speaking of like canned writing advice, I thought something was interesting with they called writing how you speak a trap. And then they elaborated and said that, oh, I kept writing things like and very
and just
and I had to cut them out. So there's 2 problems, quote unquote, there, to me anyways, is the filler words and there's writing how you talk, which I don't really inherently see a problem with writing how you talk.
No, I don't either.
Everyone talks about a voicey protagonist, and the easiest thing to write is the voice that you already have.
And, okay, a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, saying that a protagonist is too voicey is kind of a dog whistle for, like, being a little bit, I don't know, racist or being a little bit homophobic. It can be.
No, I could see that.
It happens.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Just worth considering.
It was a stupid panel. I'm sorry. All the authors seemed perfectly pleasant, but I got nothing out of that.
Yeah, no, it was very dry.
Right.
And I felt like this is so weird because I was about to say I feel like I was watching a conversation between like people who know each other or like are acquainted with each other and are talking about their craft. But when I say it that way, that actually sounds interesting. But it did feel that way. It felt to me like these are authors that like all kind of know each other. They are interested in each other's work and each other's approaches to writing. But like somehow the magic of that conversation like never manifested.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like they go down the line, each saying their thing, and then they move to the next question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we very quickly moved on from that to the aesthetics of storytelling, which I was positive was going to be about tropes or at least genre trappings or literally anything.
Right.
I was hoping. It featured Alexandra Chung, Freddie Kulsh, Hafsa Faisal, Michelle Corpora, Kate Christensen, and Rachel Griffin. I think everyone just plugged their recent novels and mentioned offhandedly the things that inspired the world building, and they seemed like great novels, and it seemed like good inspirations for world building, but I don't think aesthetics came up one time.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, they each talked about aesthetics in the sense that they talked about stories that had inspired their stories.
Right.
But I think that the talk we're about to talk about next was more aesthetic than this was.
Right, so the only other thing that was worth mentioning about the quote-unquote aesthetics of storytelling is there was some phrasing that one of the writers did where talking about how with YA, the line is difficult to find in terms of content. And this is something that we run up a lot on in terms of like the shift in YA from when I was a child versus now in terms of what's permissible and vis-a-vis sexuality, content in terms of violence, things like that. So I think it's just an interesting like choice of phrasing. It's what makes the genre label new adult so appealing to me. Is I feel like that's a really good, really easy way to distinguish Percy Jackson from Fourth Wing without invalidating either of them and emphasizing the connection between the two in terms of craft.
Yeah, it's a shame to me that label like kind of tried to take off and then died like 10 years ago, because I feel like we fucking need it now. Like we could really be benefiting from that.
Right. So the choice of word to call it a line is just interesting to me, because I mean, you know, there have been books for time immemorial that deal explicitly with sexuality, violence, whatever, that are marketed or intended for child readers, and I don't know if it's a line necessarily, but
right. It's interesting that they called it a line, because in a talk that we saw a little bit after this, rules also came up, like rules vis-a-vis what you are allowed to write within a certain genre before it becomes unmarketable to that target audience. And I was just interested by the fact that phrasing is very prescriptivist, which is not to be prescriptive myself and say that is bad. Just I noticed that it was a pattern. Like it seems to be that there is some sort of pressure coming from somewhere that determines that, or it incentivizes authors to like conform in certain ways. And I know that's super vague, but I can't say anything more definitive about it.
Right.
But it's worth keeping an eye out for, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Talking about all of the panels just in general, that was another thing. Talk about prescriptivism that I noticed is you called this out. Every person defines their works in terms of X meets Y.
Yeah, and
every single person, and optionally Z, with a little smidgen of Z. There's just like Pirates of the Caribbean meets heists with a little smidgen of some sitcom. It was like random things. You have like a really popular thing that's recent, a known staple, and something quirky to distinguish you.
Yeah, it literally did move down the pyramid in terms of like, my first example is something you've heard of.
Right.
My second example is something you've heard of if you're already in this space, and then my optional third example might be from another medium altogether, like a sitcom, like Andrew said. So it's very formulaic.
Yeah, it's formulaic. Again, this is something I kind of defend because this is how fiction works. Dracula is Carmilla, but for boys. So, like, we can't just say
It's
that
Carmilla, but blue.
it's Carmilla, but blue. So I can't say that this is new. It's just the anatomical consistency with which everyone independently had something for their introduction was just interesting.
And it was regardless of whether they were approaching us in a bar 4 drinks in, or if they were up on a stage in front of 50 people. They did this no matter what. Like, they've if they have learned nothing else, they've learned this.
Right. Which, you know, I think it's just a testament to how things are.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, but you keep alluding to it, so I guess we'll go into the writing across audiences and expectations, which I was really excited about because this was one of the seminars that included Alex Aster. It also had Marie Lu, Melissa De La Cruz, Mia Manansala, Margaret Stahl, and Rebecca Ross. And that... it really was more about the aesthetics of storytelling than anything. So it's just like, what are the trappings of each genre?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I remember this talk being pretty insubstantial.
Yeah.
I don't know if there were any details that were worth bringing to the fore about it.
Either it was less dry than the previous two, but weirdly I had less to say about it.
Yeah, it wasn't boring or anything.
No, it was fine.
I'll be honest, the last 2 years, like, I don't have a life. I don't sleep because I feel this rush of like, well, I've had this dream and I've been working on these books for so long, and now is the time people want them. So I need to deliver. And I do feel the rush of like social media and like the trends changing, and the fact that right now people want my books, but I don't know if they will in a few years. So like my mentality is kind of like, okay, I'll sleep then. I won't sleep now. And I'm not saying that to encourage that, because I'll be honest, it's not a healthy way to live. And it really feels like this year especially, I put my head down and I put my head back up after a deadline, and the seasons have changed. Like, people are in different stages of their lives. It's suddenly July, it's suddenly November. Like, I don't know where the time went, and I honestly can tell you, I don't even remember this year because I've constantly been on deadline. And I don't think that's a good thing, but I think it's important to be honest about the cost of writing this much, because I'm also like, I'm kind of a perfectionist. Like, I won't let go of it until I'm proud of it. That doesn't mean the work is perfect. It just means like I won't publish something unless I really feel like I've done the best I can. But when you're publishing so much, so often, it just requires time. Like, there's no substitute for the time in front of the computer writing. And that just means, you know, you write 7 days a week. You write from morning until night. You don't have a life. Like, your family doesn't see you. It's like, that is the only way it happens, if you're the one writing the books, right? Like, that it's just you in front of the computer, and it's sacrifice of like your life and your health sometimes. So again, not a recommendation, but I think just like a truth of like, if you see authors publishing a lot, there's a cost to that, and a lot of times it is like the author themselves. And I think that is just a reality of our market right now, and a lot of people are feeling that pressure. And for me, it's a little less of like feeling the pressure, because like it's more about like, I love this so much, and like for the first time it feels like people want this from me, and so you feel a pressure in different ways, I guess.
I think this was the talk where I began to notice that Alex Aster is extremely good at appearing personable in front of a crowd and narrativizing her own experiences.
Yeah.
She is so talented at telling a story about the creation of her stories.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like I found myself taken in or anything, but I was able to like really appreciate her genuine ability to do this thing. And I think that it's kind of a testament to, I don't know, humans as like social creatures, right?
Yeah.
Like, she is able to survive in this industry not as a writer. She's not a good writer, and she may yet become one. I hope that, you know, decades down the line I'm eating these words. But right now in 2025, she's a bad writer, but she is really, really good at talking like a good writer.
Yeah.
She is better at talking like a good writer than many very talented literary writers that I personally know.
Sure.
And that's really interesting to me as well.
Not that this refutes what you said, but I found myself taken in as much as I felt horrible pity
Yeah.
for her because she sounds fucking miserable.
She does.
I'll play some recordings or something. Like, I swear her voice is breaking at certain points.
It did feel like she was about to cry.
Yeah, because she's talking about, like, I have not slept. I don't mark the passage of days. I am a stranger to my family and friends. My dog lives in abject misery.
Right.
Like, it was just like, holy shit, I felt bad.
She was talking about how writing multiple books for a year is taking a genuine toll on her mental, physical, interpersonal healths. It was quite sad.
Yeah.
And I know she's going to come out the other end of it fine, you know, because her family are multimillionaires, and she is certainly a millionaire at least.
Right.
But, you know, in the moment when she's telling you very earnestly, like, how hard it is to write all of these books, like, I personally, I couldn't help but feel a moment of, like, you know, interpersonal pangs for her. Like, I was like, oh man, that does sound pretty rough.
Right, yeah, because this is like right at the heels of us, quote unquote, meeting her and shaking her hand and in diplomatic friendship, and it was just like, it was bad. I remember being very harrowed. So that was that one.
That was that one. I wish I had more to say about what the other authors said.
But I have found that time is changing. Like, the rate of change is exponentially changing and increasing so much that I actually think one of our jobs now is to learn to work quickly.
I actually thought you were going to say, so our job is to slow it down.
So I think from a combination of like lack of sleep, and we had been drinking the last night, and we weren't eating like at a point that we should.
No.
We had to like scarf food down our face like halfway through just because we like we're not thinking about how much these like seminars would take up our time. Meanwhile, my wife is having the time of her life. She's doing like an escape room, and she wins the escape room. It gets like an arc signed for her. It's terrible.
She was really having like a comic relief episode.
Right.
While we were in the trenches, like listening to Alex Aster cry on stage, like.
which is so funny because I don't think we've even alluded to this yet. All of these seminars, including the ones with Alex Aster, which had a very populated signing line, were very underpopulated.
Yeah,
We're in these cavernous rooms, these theaters, and these music halls,
these sanctums of education and learning,
right?
And the
No one
seats
was
were
there.
empty.
Yeah, isn't that just a little bit appropriate?
Yeah.
And everyone was at the arc drop, including at 4 a.m.
Right.
So
it's hard for me to say now, Andrew, if you planted this in my brain or if I thought of it organically, but there's a cynical part of me that's like, is this just a consumptive collectathon? Like, have we made Banjo-Kazooie and Meat Space where the main draw is just like, oh, pick up all the little trinkets,
right,
and then go home and make content for us for free,
right?
Like, because, you know, when there's 1 million people in line at 4 a.m. and then there's 12 people actually listening to the authors talk about their craft, however boringly, it's hard not, I think, to be a little bit nervous.
Right. I agree with you, but I struggle to be able to sign off on a sentiment like that, because every single person we talked to, even the ones that we annoyed very, very severely, was so gracious, so kind. You struck up small talk with one of the volunteers, and they just handed you an arc because you were nice to them.
That is true.
Like, there was not a sense of jealousy. There was definitely a sense of overconsumptiveness.
Yeah.
But there wasn't like
There wasn't a
oh,
covetous-
fuck you, I got mine kind of thing.
Exactly.
So I felt really great about it, but where you and I are covetous is in the, ooh, let me get all of these like details. Like, we're consumers for facts.
No, I can't sign off on that phrasing.
We're for facts and logic.
No, that suggests things with which I don't agree.
Whatever. Okay, so whatever.
We have different goals than some of the people that were in attendance.
But we're just as consumery.
No,
we are.
No. Because consumption in its we're conflating two different connotations of consumption here. That's what's happening.
Okay.
There's
What's
people
your
that, there's
consumption?
people that consume in the sense that they are trying to absorb information, which is
Okay.
what you were insinuating when you talked about us. And then there's consumptive in the sense of just like partaking in capitalism in an overzealous way without
Okay.
much thought.
I find these, since we are content creators,
Yes.
to be indistinguishable.
There's a little bit, look, there's a little hypocrisy
Okay.
involved, and that's
Okay.
just the way that it
we are both horrible hypocrites.
Sure.
If you take nothing away from this video.
I mean, there ain't no getting around it, guys. Like, I'm on a camera right now. Like, I don't know how to, but look, I can call it when I see it, I think.
Right. So just because I was interested in the idea of Kate Corain's goal with Crown of Starlight, I wanted to go to the seminar on retellings and takes on fave tales.
And I'm glad you did.
Which, yeah, it was simultaneously the most interesting one, and I fell asleep halfway through because
we
I
were
was
tired
just
and hungry.
exhausted. But there was, so it featured Sarah Mlinowski, Danielle Page, Allison Saft, Trung Linh Nguyen, Ashley Latimer, and A.B. Paranek. Trung Linh Nguyen was so cool.
Yeah.
He was so articulate. He works with like graphic novels and stuff. Everything he said, I was hanging on every word because he just phrased it so interestingly. I wonder if he has an MFA or
He
something.
does not, but I looked it up because
Okay.
he uses a lot of MFA phrases,
Right.
as does Allison Saft, who did amazing as well. She and Trung Linh like really played off of each other super effectively. It was a great conversation, and they each were able to give lots of specific examples of the fairy tales and other like folklore that they drew from for inspiration.
But advice, well, I already said get a hobby, so do that first. And then after that, I think that with the prevalence of social media, it's very easy to get caught up in trying to pursue trends and think that that's kind of the path to breaking into this industry. But I think that what makes books, any kind of art, really special is the deep specificity of every project. So to just embrace all of the weird things about yourself, like your passing interests, just really leaning into how you specifically look at the world. And there's something weirdly universal about that deep, like going deep inside yourself. Like someone else will connect with that.
That is almost the precise advice that I give to visual artists too. And I think that this applies in both of these things because now I'm familiar with both aspects of this. But one of the things that we encounter a lot now as aspiring artists or writers or creatives is that we get a lot of unsolicited feedback from strangers.
They weren't just able to tell you what they were drawing from, they were able to tell you what they drew from it and why and how they incorporated it into their works and what they cut out, and it was amazing.
Which is so refreshing.
Yeah.
Which is just so refreshing.
Yeah.
So I did fall asleep. I'm so sorry. I remember something about like, I think it was Sarah talking about chess. It may not have been Sarah.
It was Allison
It was
talking about
Allison
chess.
talking about chess. I started like dreaming about chess pieces. It was not to the fault of any of the participants. And then we had our closing keynote featuring Alex Aster, Shannon Spann, Rachel Griffin. Easily my favorite. I don't know. It may not have been yours, but I really liked the way that they framed just their authorial journeys as this hike through the mountains.
This was what confirmed what I began to notice in Alex Aster's first panel, which is that she is just so good at telling a story verbally about her own personal life experiences. And she played really, really well off of the other two presenters as well.
Right.
She was able to effectively, yes and them, and then they also would yes and her back. It was really like a verbal little tennis game, but without the competition.
I completely agree that it was effectively conveyed, but this was where I smelled BS.
Okay.
Not even in her interactions with us, not in her stage presence. It was here, and this goes to all the authors in this panel, the closing keynote, and it was in like really innocuous details of their stories. Like Alex, for example, was talking about her first book, quote unquote, that she ever wrote was when she was 12, and it was basically just Twilight but without vampires.
Yeah.
And she's like, I had to rewrite it 3 times because I kept having hard drive failures, and I would go to the Apple store crying. And she delivers all this information in a very entertaining way, but like, bullshit. Like, no way that you had like a shitty MacBook that kept breaking 3 times and didn't come with a way to get around it.
I'm genuinely so confused. Why did that stand out to you?
I don't know, because, well, I think what it was Summer in the City, because it's almost the exact same narrative, but in Summer in the City, the narrator of that book rewrote it because her mother challenged her to and took it away.
Oh.
So the fact that it mirrored it so closely, but was such like a, like, I used to be an IT guy, so like hard drive failures, they happen, but like, especially not if you're coming from a multi-millionaire family and you own a MacBook,
right.
Like they're pretty stable operating systems.
I mean, who else would be so easily able to just buy a new one 3 times?
Fair enough. So maybe it's not bullshit, but like, the fact that it was so similar and the fact that it was a very specific situation stuck out to me. The other one, and forgive me, I don't know which author said this, maybe Shannon Span, I could be wrong, talked about, I did all of my writing on this laptop and I kept it on a hardwood floor.
This was bullshit.
And it got so hot and I never picked it up, and then there was a colony of ants in it that ate the hard drive. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking
This
about?
feels so made up.
Right.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's hard for me to imagine this happening. Like, why is your laptop on the floor?
Right.
Why is it in a spot that ants are known to be in? How'd the ants get there without you noticing?
What
does
they
the
get?
heat have to do with the ants? Like, I don't know.
I don't know, but there was a lot of like self-mythologizing, and I think the lack of veracity in some of these anecdotes kind of speaks to that.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I still found it compelling. And as much as I think Alex Aster is a genuine victim of whatever horrible capitalist machine is churning out books these days, it was still interesting to hear her talk about it.
This panel was more of a success than the previous ones because it had a gimmick. So this one had a PowerPoint going on behind it where the authors told their stories about getting to their first publications in phases.
Right.
And each phase matched up to a phase of like climbing a mountain. And so, like, you knew by the second or third slide what was going to happen. You know, they were going to reach the pinnacle, they were going to face doubts,
right?
They were going to reach the end of the trail or whatever.
Sure,
the fuck.
whatever.
And just knowing that was coming helped you, like, I don't know, anticipate spatially, temporally,
ground yourself.
Right. Whereas the others were just like these panel interviews, and I really think that's a testament to, I don't know, just the need of like a panel to have like a hook,
right?
More than just a title, because this one was very well attended, and I can't say necessarily that the authors were better known than the authors at the other panels were.
Not per se.
Yeah, so I don't know.
So yeah, that's what really bothered me, and I noticed from the very beginning when we saw the editing one, is that it instantly came unmoored.
Yeah.
Every time, like the first question would be tangentially related to the title, and then someone would bring something up and the moderator would fail to rein it in, and then they would be trading stories about just playing Assassin's Creed.
Anything, literally anything at all, because it was no longer about, broadly speaking, what it was actually supposed to be about. And I suspect that that's because they assigned moderation roles to people, or they let people choose to be moderators, and then they were just like, all right, here's your topic.
Right.
Figure out some interview questions and maybe reference the specific books of the authors that are on your panel.
Right.
And, you know, there's no there. It's just sort of like a talk. And that's fine for 1 or 2 panels, but it definitely should not be the default formula.
No, it should not. So
where's the glow stick raves? Where's the cosplayer roleplay interviews?
You gotta bring the living tombstone in to make some dubstep.
Exactly. You get me.
I'd like to issue a personal apology to Reads with Rachel for being 2 of the most awkward people on the planet coming up to her.
Oh, you mean you and Rachel?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. So the situation was, and I should have mentioned this earlier when we were talking about the ARC drop, we're walking away from that because it turns out that we've waited an hour and a half for stickers.
Yeah, and bookmarks.
And bookmarks. But anyways, and then Jay turns around and they're like, is that Reads with Rachel? And it is. And, you know, me, Jay, and my wife are talking like, do we come up to her? Do we say something? I'm like, no, we're not doing this. Like, I feel comfortable telling random people that I'm a booktuber, but I'm not going to go up to like a bigger booktuber and try to front or anything.
But I am.
But and then halfway through explaining this, Jay is saying, hi, Rachel, we're big fans. So Rachel didn't realize that I was with you, and then while you were taking a picture, I walked up to it. So it was just the most awkward thing in the world, but Rachel was so magnanimous and so gracious, and she made a big show about taking out her phone and looking up our channel and pressing the subscribe button, which I'm positive that she'll unsubscribe from. Right. So I have no illusions that we made a grand connection, but I do appreciate her being so gracious with us. But it was cool to see. Like, I know she lives near South Carolina. I think she's from Florida.
Yeah, I believe so.
But I'm glad that she made the trip. I don't know like what kind of content that she was going to make out of this.
I don't know.
They probably gave her a media pass.
She had one. She was wearing it in the picture.
Oh, is that what she was wearing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so sucks to be us, I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
But it proves, I was worried that like we were denied a media pass like just by virtue of the fact that we post critical content.
Right.
But that's a testament to the fact that like it was just because we don't have the clout, which is good, which is a thing that we can address.
We can fix that.
Right.
We can't fix being antagonists.
Right.
That's just part of who we are.
We're just antagonistic people. And all of this wrapped up, and I'm so mad. I know I just gave the anecdote in the driving up here segment about, you know, I didn't want to go to the SmackDown game show. I did not want to do it. But when I applied for the media pass, they gave me a free ticket. So I was like, oh shit, I got 2 people with me. I might as well buy 2 tickets. It happened in the same place as the closing keynote. No one checked that you bought tickets for the follow-up event.
No.
So I just spent way too much money for a thing that I didn't want to do and didn't have to pay for.
They spat in your face and laughed at you because they made an announcement that was like, if you're already here and you want to stay, just hang out.
Ahead.
And it's like, okay, well, some people paid for 2 events. Like,
right.
You know, whatever, I guess.
Which, yeah, I'll write it off as just like I was supporting YALLFest, which at the end of the day I do want to do because I had a lot of fun overall, and I think the mission in general is a good thing to pursue.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a second. The game show fucking sucked. I'm sorry. I'm sure it was a lot of fun for the people involved.
Oh, it didn't suck.
I did not have fun.
I'd say 66% sucked.
Okay, 66% sucked. It was crazy to me. It was inconceivable to me. We were talking about how underpopulated all the other events were that we went to. The entire music hall filled up with people for this.
Yeah, in a snap of the fingers, it completely filled up with people. There was not an empty seat. I was glad that I was at the end of a row because I didn't have neighbors. but Andrew's neighbors were people who we had run into the night previous, so we chatted with them. That was really lovely.
It felt so cool. I felt so cool. I was like, returning character, I know who you are. So it's run by Victoria Aveyard and what was his name? I think Salman.
I liked the game show. He put a lot of effort into it.
It was so high effort.
It was very high effort. It was very well executed, but it was like watching people do improv about things you only slightly care about.
It was pandery. It was so conspicuously pandery because so it was broken into segments.
Mm-hmm.
When we say game show, we don't mean there's some kind of like final tally at the end, at least not as far as we could tell.
No, we left.
They just did successive segments where different combinations of authors would play improv games with each other, and they were all very high production value. So the first bit was the host and a couple of backup dancers danced along to like a clip show that they had made of book-related content, but then also like content that is like completely tangential to the book sphere, but is legible to this audience of queer people and cis women, which I realize those are not mutually exclusive categories,
Right,
but it was
right.
very much tailored to those audiences. It was, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that speaks for itself, right?
No, yeah, and I'll have clips to play of it because I basically recorded anything that I thought would be salient, but it just, I very quickly realized that I saw everything that I needed to from like round one.
I mean, yeah, we got the vibe pretty quickly. So there was like that dance number where they danced to like Charlie XCX, they danced to Chapel Roan, they danced to Sabrina Carpenter, they danced to Billie Eilish. Like, you get what I'm saying. And then the next segment was a shipping game with audience participation.
And it was kind of fun.
It was sort of funny, you know, like some character. So the different authors embodied different characters. Many of them were BookTok characters, but then there were also some classic literature characters like Mr. Tumnus, and then there were even some TV show characters as well. And you know, the audience like cheered for their favorite ships and stuff, but it felt very pandery. I don't know, like I just wasn't into it, I guess.
Right. I did. That's a great way to put it. I didn't realize it. I just was repulsed by the cringe. I have bad experiences in college with improv comedy, so that's a big part of it. Like, I have a bias statement there, but I do think like that was the first time that I felt like I was being sold something, like even with the go collect these arcs and make free content for us, like I still got something out of that. Like, I didn't feel like I got the same return on my being used that I got from the game show. So that was our signal that we should leave.
Something that I didn't like about the game show, which is probably unfortunately unavoidable, is that a couple of the segments were divided up by advertisements for upcoming projects that shows hosts had hands in. So they're literally advertising their own product as they are doing this, like, oh, just for fun, entertainment thing. And that felt very disingenuous to me. I know that's something that'll bother Andrew's already not bothered by it.
Because we're here to buy books, Jay. Like, that's, how do you learn what to buy?
I just didn't like that we had bought tickets to sit down and
then we were sold
something.
more things. I
don't know. It was just
no, that's a good point.
Like I said, it's unavoidable. Like, of course, these people are genuinely interested in their own work, and they want to make sure you know it exists so that you can buy it if you want. But I didn't like it. I just didn't like it.
That's fair. That's simple as. I would have tolerated it a lot more were it not completely silent, and you could see the mouse hit the play button, and it would just be this animation just playing out in just perfect silence. People would cheer when they saw the titles of certain books.
And they used the TikTok voice to explain the games.
Yes,
like each game had like a little intro presentation that was animated, which was very cool. I hope it was a real animator and not AI. But they were all animated, and the TikTok voice narrated them, and that was another moment where I was like, I feel like they know that queer people are in their audience specifically, and they're trying to pander to them, and I didn't like that. I felt like I was trying to be captured.
Captured.
Maybe it's just that, like, as a queer person, I come across that a little bit less, since I'm not like the default audience for most media, and so like I was more sensitive to the fact that it was happening, but it squicked me out a little bit. So I don't know. Would welcome other people's thoughts about that in the comments, as always. But
it was the most cynical part of the entire experience. But I don't know. I still had a lot of fun with it. Like, I know we're mostly complaining, but I think overall, just being able to be out there, it wasn't as corporate as I was expecting it.
That's a good point. I mean, despite the TikTok iconography on everything.
Yes, it's literally sponsored by TikTok.
Yeah, it wasn't like publishing bigwigs leading these conversations, and they weren't like, advertise your book for us now, Alex Aster. It was like, you know, these people making a genuine effort to talk about their craft. And some of them failed, but some of them succeeded. And I think that that's much better than what I was maybe sort of expecting.
Yeah, we had that live stream way back when that I clipped with the talk about the TikTok voice, the long blood meridian thing with Empress Teresa. That is the best thing I've ever created, but I digress. But where we had us listening to this interview with the CEO of Amulet, which is Alex Aster's publisher. And I thought that it would all be like that, where it's gross and corporate and weird. So being bored by this very human, very disorganized panel is so much better than tell me more about SEO funnels and how to best limit your consumers' opportunities so they just consume the same thing over and over. So Could
it
have
was
been way worse.
authors sharing their genuine anxieties about the future of the
Yes.
industry too,
Mhm.
because it wasn't just Alex Aster that would gripe. Well, gripe sounds reductive, but that would complain about her personal struggles. It was authors lamenting how quickly trends move.
Yeah.
Not just that there are trends that they have to chase to a degree to survive in the market, but that the trends now are so fast that if you realize one is happening, it's already too late to do anything about it. And they're like, we don't know what to do but to work harder, on top of now publishers expect us to market our own stuff.
Right.
And so they were just sort of like, hey, we don't know what to do about this. And they didn't pretend to offer any solutions, which I thought was very honest and sad and concerning, but it's something to follow, I guess, in the coming years.
Right, but the fact that they're able to do that is something. And this TikTok sponsored, publisher sponsored too, like all the panels were published or sponsored by this, that, or the other publishing house, that they were able to be this candid gives me hope. Like, obviously things are bad, but it's only going to be super bad when you can't talk about it.
Yeah, no, it was good that Amulet didn't like have a big shepherd's crook reach out and grab Alex Aster by the neck and yank her behind the curtain or something like that, when she was like, my publisher is putting a lot of fucking pressure on me.
Right.
She got to say it.
She got to say it.
And as far as I know, they haven't canceled Star Town or whatever the fuck it's called.
Watch them do it. Watch them do it. You went too far this time, Alex.
Alex, you renegade. Right. You're a loose cannon. Turn in your badge.
Right. So much better than I expected to be. I don't think we got the haul that we necessarily could have gotten. You and I had differing opinions on like why you would even want an arc. I love getting arcs. I think it's really cool.
I don't care. If the book is good and it reaches me when it's out, I'll read it and I'll respond to it in my own time. I mean, these days I'm making video essays about Carmilla, which is like 100 million years old.
Right.
And now I'm making a video essay about The King in Yellow, which is 50 million years old.
Right.
Like I'll write about what I want to write about. I don't care. Like, I'll get to it when I get to it. And if I die before I get to it, then I die and somebody else will do it. It's whatever. I don't need an arc. I don't need to be the first. What's the point?
The point is to be the first.
Yeah, but somebody else is already going to have been the first. That's the thing about like when you're the first, is that, 20 years later, someone's like, well, actually somebody else actually said something more profound that was very similar to you, and no one knew about it, but then they're the one that everyone remembers.
I don't know. I must be just a mindless consumer because I love it.
I don't care. I just don't care.
A lot of our good fortune has come from arcs, like with Crown of Starlight.
That's a good fortune, yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever wake up at 4 to get arcs, but I think next time we go, I may be more... Annoying isn't the right word, but I may be more forward about the fact that I'm a content creator.
Yeah.
We were very directly approached by people who had a smaller following and were both serious and unobnoxious about it. So, like, I think that would have been more cool if we were, like, more forward about it. But I think a good little surreptitious introduction to physical stuff.
I think we felt out the space immaculately.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, luck was definitely on our side in multiple ways.
That freaking bar, the one bar.
But it's also worth pointing out that the luck wasn't only it. Like, the community of people that we ran into was uniformly extremely pleasant.
Yes.
Very willing to just hang with whoever. Like, they didn't care. Like, so we were talking to them as normies, and then we talked to them as content creators. And then we revealed that we have a small follower count, and through all of that, any of those could have engendered a negative reaction. Everybody was super normal.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
I mean, things are bad. Things probably will get worse, but the community is there, and there are people out there who are writers, who are published authors. There seems to be this whole group of people who have something, maybe, I don't know if they pay the rent or not. They're not trending on TikTok, but they still are debut authors with traditional publishing. Like, things are doom and gloom, but that's no reason to stop writing, and that's no reason to stop looking for a community, because they're out there.
There were writers my and Andrew's age, which I assume is also many of your ages out there, who seem to be doing all right, Like, they were hanging in there. There is yet light.
There is yet light. If I could change anything, I would spread out these events.
Yeah, across 2 days.
Right, because every one thing that we committed to, we were rejecting doing 3 other things.
Yeah.
And everything that we did, we committed to 10 minutes or less, and to be fair, everything's very close to each other, but they're in different places, moving to a new place. Everything had to be from 8 to 5, and then everything had to be on Saturday. And I just think that's crazy, frankly.
And we kind of had to go to the same stuff because otherwise this segment wouldn't have worked, because we would have been explaining to each other what we saw, and it would have just been a mess.
Right, and so much of it was boring that it would just be like twice the boring stuff.
Yes, it would.
So anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed. This certainly was very fun to make. Again, we'll probably be better about the whole vlog thing. I hope you feel like this is something out of 2012 or whatever, 2015.
I hope you're looking down at like what year this was posted. Right. You're like, what the? Right. Are you sure?
Right. We've always been perennially stuck in that era of content creation, and I'm not going anywhere because publishers and writers, as I understand them, haven't gone anywhere. They've just been buried by TikTok. That's but right. I'll live under it like a weighted blanket.
One thing that was interesting to me was when the authors were talking about the rate of acceleration of trends, one of them was like, we just have to, and then she kind of hesitated and she said, we just have to work faster. And then another author cut in and was like, I thought you were going to say we all just need to make everybody else slow down by slowing down ourselves. And then they all kind of laughed uncomfortably. But I mean, that's what we're doing right now.
Right.
This video feels like it's from 15 years ago, and fuck it. So what?
So
deal with it. If you don't like it, you've already quit watching. So who am I even talking to but the people that already agree, which is great.
I hope you guys have enjoyed the first ever field trip of the St. Balasar University English Club. We will see you around campus, but right now I need probably Taco Bell and a long sleep.
Oh yeah, Taco Bell sounds really good actually.
All right, so we'll see y'all. Comment your favorite Taco Bell order, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you around campus.